Oh well, it's Monday. We're about 14 days, I think, now into the wet. I just had Gideon on the bloody Facebook, sending me bloody clips, especially when I'm supposed to be packing. I told him I'm making a stew. Doesn't he realise how long a stew takes to make, sort of thing. So I'm gonna make a stew, get it going, and then I can sit down and sort these, get the final packing of packages together and see it out the door, because I want to get it out the door so I can get back to my fly trap research, because as I said, I made a big discovery yesterday, and basically I had to double the amount of nitrogen content fixed into the soil. So twice as much nitrogen will in theory theoretically mean twice as big plants. I mean, and really nails the connection to Australia, sort of thing. But yeah, anyway, I'm just going to sort of chop this up, sort of thing, as you do. Yeah, it was sending me clips of bloody thing. I think, I was telling him to politely to piss off, because it's the worst thing you can do to a procrastinator is to give him a distraction. I mean, doesn't he want these glid seeders on it? Oh, I really like these glid seeds, but now I'm going to pester and annoy you, send you all these clips, sort of thing. Well, can you watch this one? Can you watch that one? I really want to. I've got to make this stew for tea, and I've got to get down to sorting these things out. I mean, it's 2:24 now. I mean, normally I have to get down by 3 o'clock. As I said, we learnt the other day that really that's just what they just tell the general public. The cut-off is 4 o'clock, and also you got the 6 o'clock in the boxes outside. So it may be a 6 o'clock in the boxes outside sort of. Can you actually see that? I don't think so. Let's see. That's better. So nothing worse than listening to me doing something and not being able to see it. But yes, just chopping up the meat here as you do. So yeah, oh no, the way they treat our animals overseas, I think that's the. I don't know why we don't value add, We do it here on our shores and then send it overseas, If you're going to treat the animals that way, there's no way we're going to let you do that overseas, We tend to try to think that we are a humane society in Australia, but seeing the way they slaughter the animals overseas, ugh. Definitely, it's just, and crowding sheep onto boats, hot boats, no air conditioning, It's not nice. Anyway, this is almost like some of our CPs when you actually consider how some of these plants actually kill the insects, and wait till you find out what the glid actually does, An acid bath before death after having probably a poison barb shoved in your belly, yes. Yes, that would be quite. Can you imagine capturing that on film? And being able to flick things the size of, on its scale, the things the size of elephants, If something doesn't come of that, I don't know. Yeah, probably end up being the first plant in the world with some sort of botanical nervous system in it. Yeah. Well, if you're moving at human speed, as I said, they haven't even cranked up the temperature to Australian standards. My original claim when I was a child over in Western Australia was it can move faster than the eye can see. I mean, they've clocked it about 80 milliseconds, and I've been told it can go faster, and they're still not using Australian temperatures. I'll be dead before they actually, I reckon that'll be it, It'll be about 70 or 80, and finally the news will come through that, yay, I was right all along, it can move faster than the eye can see. And you know what that means? Yeah, well, we do see things with our nerves in the nervous system, don't we? So if you're moving at that sort of speed, you're moving at nerve speed, so, Can you think of the processing power? It's probably just a sort of physical processing power, it's nothing, it doesn't have a brain or anything, I don't think. But, between between tentacles and all that, you know. I've seen tentacles on the other side of the plant snap off, so that means the signal must have got across the plant to the other tentacle to trigger it off, I would say. I mean, that means the speed is already, you know, the speed of, in quotes, nerve transmission is already greater than 80 milliseconds. I mean, if there's a delay to snap a tentacle off, but you get a tentacle snapping off, you can actually see that in one of my clips. I think I put online from nearly 15 years ago. So yeah. As I said, the question is why has my seminal article never been put on the Glory Hunters website? You know, that's the big question. I think it's the fact that the word. Because I send in my articles, so I didn't even have them myself, and then suddenly I get sent back these electronic copies, and yeah, you know, it is very eye-opening to read your own articles from years ago that you probably haven't, first of all, read for 10 years, and then haven't had them for 10 years, sort of thing. You know, I sent them in, I think, 2005, so I basically hadn't really looked at them since. Because, you know, I had my son and everything like that. You know, basically, as I was writing the seminar article, my son was being born, basically, or just a couple of months before, and getting it published in Flytrap News. So, yeah. So basically, I didn't really have the time to get to look at my own articles on a regular basis. Then in 2005, I was asked, you know, have you got these? You know, so I sent the articles over. The idea was it was going to film them, you know, and do things like, you know, use all these special skills that you're supposed to have to, you know, fly through the 3D slides and into some footage sort of thing. You know, like you go from the 3D slides of the past and fly into some modern day footage and really making an amazing DVD video sort of thing eventually, and you know, and film the articles and have the articles sort of like, you know, like the Bill Peach thing superimposed on, you know, running into footage and all that sort of super duper stuff you can do these days with the digital, even more so than the old days. And he's had them for we're 2014 now, so he's had them 9 years. And suddenly in 2012, suddenly I get these electronic copies sent to me. I reckon someone in the university told him, what do you mean? He doesn't know because you've denied him his own articles for the last almost well, it wasn't quite a decade then, it was about 7 years or something. You better send these articles to him. And of course, the first thing I spotted in the article is the word pads, and I thought, yeah, I reckon that's the reason you don't want to put my article on your reference page. It's the word pads. That's what it is. You know, you're a glory hunter, so and that really upsets you. I mean, whereas I'm a scientist and I like to give credit where credit is due, even if it's Alan Lowry, and I think there's a bit of a conflict with Steve Rose in there, you know. I'm a scientist, so I like to tell all the stories and let you make you know, let you decide, you know. So, yeah, isn't that the way? Yeah. That's why I don't like this peer review, because as I said, I've just had a fine example of how it can go so wrong. You know, I mentioned in the very first, actually I thought I was mentioned in the second paragraph. I was actually mentioned in the first paragraph of the article, and I did not get sent a copy of the article. And then of course there's this big clangor implying that I was, you know, I made all this discovery and grew up in bloody South Australia. I made this discovery over in Western Australia, and look. So people in the next, you know, 50 years to 1,000 years are going to be reading CPN. There's been no retraction or correction or anything like that. So people are just going to keep reading this article thinking that it all happened here, when it's just not true. It happened over in Western Australia. I mean, that's a big error. And he says, well, I'm going to fix it. I've got to fix that. I'm saying, well, yeah, we're in 2014. I've seen no bloody retraction, correction, or anything in CPN. No apology. You know, getting the bloody state wrong. You know, take a bloody look at Australia and look at the map. I know it's a bloody big place, but getting the bloody state wrong, you know, and not apologising for that. I mean, that's a bloody insult to Australia, surely. You know. Please, I mean, what do I have to dig out bloody records from Western Australia to show that I was there, you know, because you don't believe me? Do I have to get contacts with my friends, my school friends in Western Australia who went to school with me over there? So I'd have to have photographs of my school friends over there to prove that, you know, I had the second half of my childhood over there, you know? Do I have to name our 2 school bullies on the internet just so we have some evidence, you know? So everyone else says, oh yeah, they were definitely our 2 school bullies, you know? Is that what it has to be done, you know? Please, you know, can you just do that? Because, you know, in another 50 years of time when I'm not here, there's going to be people reading that CPN article thinking, again, getting the idea that it all happened here, and it didn't. It happened in Perth, Western Australia. I mean, now, so what, is it going to be referenced in the new magnum opus now? And so the false information that's in CPN has now been transferred. I haven't seen the magnum opus. I don't think it's quite out yet. Maybe that's the problem. It's been delayed because they suddenly realise that, oh yeah, that is true. Now, so does that false information about it all happening here get transferred to magnum opus? That goes out into the wider world, and everyone gets the full story. Even the members of the general public get the wrong story, you know. So for the rest of my life, I'm correct. Well, I'm not correct. Well, I'm not correcting myself. I'm correcting other people who've didn't follow the science. Well, they didn't. It's not the scientific method. They didn't follow the principles of the peer review. Their own principles of, if you're mentioned in the article, you're supposed to receive a copy of the article. Oh, he doesn't count. He's just the one that actually bloody discovered this amazing ability of the plant thing. And look what it's led on to. I mean, it just sort of you're left scratching your head, really. Anyway, I think we need to add the water and get it on, actually. I don't know, what is it for? Put the water in, then we add the stock cubes. I think it's about 4 of these it takes, and bring it to the boil. Add the stock cubes and the pepper, and I don't use tomato sauce now. I don't know. They say they put all that fake sugar and stuff into it now. You know, it's like Diet Coke on steroids or something they put in there now these days. Anyway, this can be running and I can be sorting, and I can also be down the post off while it's still slowly ticking over. But yeah, anyway, I'm over and out there. It's what, 2:35, so there you go. It's taken me, what, 15 minutes to make up the basic thing. Let's put it onto the stove, as you do, and bring it to the boil. Okay, well there you go. It's on the stove, as you can see, and nicely cooking away. If I can get it, yeah, nicely cooking away. Bring that to the boil, add the stock cubes and the pepper, and just let it cook down for about 2 hours, and I think we're done. Anyway, I think that's my rant for the day. But don't people get apologies these days, or retractions? Is that sort of like, oh, you know, it's the digital age, that doesn't count anymore? You know, we don't give apologies out anymore. You know, it's sort of like I mean, yeah, anyway. Yeah, oh, I would have thought I would have got an apology just for getting the photograph on the very day of discovery, you know. You don't know how hard I had to work to get that photograph. And then once I got my dad snapping the camera, he started taking lots of photographs. What's going on there, you know? There's me struggling. You can see my cheeks really red with desperation in that photograph, because I really had to struggle to get my dad to, you know, start taking photographs with the camera. So after he took that photograph, I started taking around the swamp, taking photographs of the other plants. But it's amazing, you know, all that resistance, and then suddenly I get, you know, about 10 or 15 photographs taken. I don't know. So sometimes, fellas, the moral of the story is you've got to push so hard to get things started. I think that's what it is. So yeah. Anyway, over and out for this clip. I hope things are going to get better in the future. But you know, watch out for the glory hunter. He did me over in 2012. As far as I know, he's done Sean over, I've heard recently, and yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what comes out in the magnum opus. That'll be very interesting to see what happens in there. Okay, over and out.